This stream will last for around 1 hour. I'm going to just solve a few Codeforces problems. Any news here? I don't think so. I didn't expect this to do anything, to be honest. Sadly, of course. Disjoint sparse table, what is that? Do I know him? Nope. Disjoint sparse tree. Well, I will just add it to my bookmarks. I have a lot of blogs in Codeforces already marked like that. I need to go through them. I guess it's some here. No, favorites. I need... Is it here? Oh yeah, here. I guess I need to go through that. But this will be for some other stream. A lot of things to go through. Melon Musk, you're first indeed. Congratulations. Let's solve something. Hi, Proxy. Make this stream long? I cannot today. Cubin programmer, Mizel, hi, Samkin. Nice to see all of you. All right. We, as always, will go with rating around 1600 to 2000. Maybe this will be a fine warm-up. Yeah, statement is short. So let's say that we start with this. I'm gonna give you a link. Kingut, Lanaya, hi. Sorry that I don't recently make new videos. Oh, math processing error everywhere. I just don't have time. It's crazy how little time you can have just because of a lot of small things. Improve my data structure, I guess practice, learn about structures that you encounter in editorials for problems that you solve. Right. Why does it keep breaking after a minute? If there exists a number c such that each number in the array occurs either 0 or c times. Remove some elements to make it beautiful. Consider this 1, 3, 2. So we will for sure count frequency of every value. What is this? Use shift refresh. I think control refresh is the hard refresh, right? View the changes. I didn't see this. Oh. That's an interesting change. From math processing error to A, and from math processing error to M. How you fixed? I just refreshed with F5. So what? We will maybe iterate over the frequency that we should allow. Is that a good idea? Codeforces Problem-Solving. This started already. So yeah, is it true that always, oh no, we can only remove, right? So some elements that occur very little, they will be removed completely, and some other elements we will remove some occurrences to make the number of occurrences equal to some element, to some value, some frequency. Let's see an example. Let's say that frequencies that occur are 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, and 6. This means that there exists a number that occurs 6 times, some other number that occurs 6 times, 4 times, and so on. Then, if there is some final C, frequency that is allowed, we can have numbers with this frequency. Let's say that C is equal to 3. Then maybe that's about example. Let's say that there's another 7 here. And then this means that if something occurs fewer than C times, then we need to get rid of this. Like 2 occurrences of element, let's say 20. It means we need to get rid of those. So we need 5 operations to get rid of that. And each of those frequencies we need to change to frequency 3. And that gives us answer 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, because among 4 occurrences I want to leave only 3 of them. 3, 3, and 4. Each of those numbers I just compute as this number minus C, minus 3. Right. We can iterate over all the possible C's. Their values are up to 1 billion, but frequencies are up to n. So C only up to n. And that gives us quite easy n square. This n square will be, actually let's code n square, because then it will be very easy to switch to better complexity. Why short stream today? Just because I need to do other things. You know, if I planned every stream, so if I always fixed a date when I have time, when it's convenient for me, then I would always have longer streams. But just today it was, I'm busy enough that I don't want 2 hours, but it's okay that I can make any stream. I considered just, canceling the stream today. That being said, I think that 1 hour stream is perfectly fine, because then you can follow everything for 1 hour. 2 hours is actually, I believe, hard. Why? Oh yeah, I think I was surprised last time that this link disappears. I still didn't fix the resolution. Right, now I'm ready. Test cases. I'm still switching to this kind of reading. Now repeat n times, read a value, let's say x, and increase its frequency. It's easiest to use a map for that. Then you can iterate over pairs. Then p first is some value that occurs that many times. This is value from the input and its frequency, those kinds of pairs. But what I'm going to do is to iterate with C from 1 for now, let's say up to some kind of maximum, say 1000. The number of operations I need is the sum over this. If frequency p second is smaller than C, if I want everything to occur exactly 5 times or 0 and something occurs 3 times, I need to get rid of all those 3 elements. Otherwise, just get it down from some frequency to down to C. This should work for samples, unless there are some there is big N here. Oh yeah, with C it's enough to iterate up to N because frequencies are up to N. The values from the input, they don't matter. What matters is the frequency that I count. P second is the frequency, not value from the input. And I need to read like this. Let's be consistent. 212. Cool, it works for a sample test. Can you do another one after this? I mean, it's not the only problem I will solve today. Why do you use scanf? I'm actually trying to switch from scanf to syn. I think that syn is better. And no, I don't have a new keyboard. Why do you ask? It's still the same Logitech keyboard. In FAQ there is like names of, for example, keyboard that I use. Suggestion. Problem titles, names in YouTube description. I don't agree that it will take 5 minutes or so. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, but it's more complicated than you think. In general, once I have, again, time to do stuff, including experimenting with commands, you know, all the things, then I will get back to being active on my Discord server, and there I discuss with all of you the possibilities to improve the stream. Why is this displayed? Okay. All right, 212. And now, what's the improvement? Either we should use something like binary search to find the best C, but I don't think that binary search will be good here. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, prefix sums indeed. I wanted to do prefix sums. Still use printf when formatting doubles. Yeah, I used printf so much that it will be easier for me so far, like for now, to use printf, to be honest, and scanf. But I will try to switch just because this is easier to read. Your code runs in n square. Indeed, that's true. This is n square. So it's too slow. I need to improve this. And as I said, one thing I can do is binary search over this. Let's investigate that, if this makes any sense. Because I don't know, maybe more like ternary search. Maybe. So, what about here? The sum of blue values is 5 plus 10. Actually, let's decrease this a little bit, the size of it. I hope that then it won't just by coincidence be correct. 5 plus this, 9. What if I move C? If I move to C equal to 4, then it improves, because then this changes to 0 and this to 2. Like always, numbers that are at least C, they are taken with minus C, and those are taken just like that. Yeah, exactly. So here we have 7. Then what about c equal to 5? All of those will be taken just like they are right now. So 9 plus 1 more from this. So this is 10. Right. Now what I need to do is I need to minimize this blue thing. And if it's true that this blue first decreases and then increases, then we can ternary search. And I hope this is not the case. I think this is not the case, and we need to do something different than binary search. C equal to 6, then what? Then this, oh, this decreases by 1, right? We will still get all of that because we need to get rid of frequency 1, 2, 4. But 6 we get down to 6. So this is 9. Alright, this is not monotonic, not even like... We hoped that it's like this, where this is C, this is the cost, total cost, and if it is like that, then we can ternary search, but it isn't. This axis, the x-axis was C. Maybe this becomes properly bitonic or bitonic, so decreasing then increasing, if we consider only C equal to every next value that appears. I don't know. But it's not obvious that ternary search works. In particular, ternary search will not work if you just ternary search from 1 to n. Like Ultra said, n square root of n is the complexity of this if we check only reasonable C, but we'll talk about it later. Finding minimum of them. Finding minimum is even faster. Calculating the sum is the same. But we don't... Why would we find minimum? No. Like here, we just want to... In particular, if you have frequencies like, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, let's say this, I'm quite sure that optimal C will be around the middle. I'm guessing that C equal to 7 is quite good here, because thanks to that, you decrease all of those values by 7. This is what C equal to 7 will do. The answer is sum of everything, sum of all frequencies Fi, minus C multiplied by suffix size. This is how much you save, and you want to maximize this saved amount. So if C is 7, then you save 7 times 4. Because each 9, instead of decreasing it down to 0, you just decrease it down to 7. You save 7 operations. So possible amount that we save here is 7 times 4, the suffix size times 7. Saved 4 times 7, which is 28. And actually, this is what we should do. We should compute frequencies, and if they are sorted, then for every C, at least for every C equal to AI, not Fi, Fi, the frequency, we should just consider this formula for saved. C multiplied by the suffix. So let's go with that. We aim for n log n, because in particular we will sort. Let's say f values. For everything in frequencies, pushback p second. Those are the frequencies. Now sort them. Instead of minimizing some kind of answer, I'm going to maximize saved amount. Right. We go through this wide array of frequencies, and when I'm at some index, I look at this value and I say this value 7 multiplied by the length till the end is the amount I can save. F of I, this is the value, like 7, times f size minus I. This is suffix length. Of course, always think for a few seconds if you want some plus minus 1 here. This is the number of elements from ith element till the end. And what do we print? We print sum of everything minus the saved amount that we maximized. Then we minimize the answer. Just what's left is to compute sum of everything. Oh, I know what is sum of everything. N. The sum of frequencies of values in the input is exactly n. Actually, I thought that we should compute it. This is n log n because we have sorting. This actually can be done in linear time because we sort values from 0 to n. You can do that in linear time. I'll switch to that. All right, so first, unordered map, which is pessimistic quadratic, but we should usually assume that it's linear. Okay, accept. Unordered map, that's the first. Then this is still n log n. Instead of doing it like that, we can do, I guess it's called radix sort. Can we solve elements from 0 to n? Maybe count sort. Instead of n log n, you can do it in O of max value, n plus max value, and max value here is n, so it's fine. All right, how do we do this? We count the frequencies that occur. Count of p second plus plus, and now they are automatically sorted. Now we can create the f, and for every value that many times f push back this value. All right, this is count sort, and it's linear. I don't think that the running time will improve a lot. Anyway, slow part is, I guess, input, reading the input, printing the output. Well, printing the output is fast because it's just a single value, but reading the input should be quite slow. So don't expect that this will be 20 times faster. Sorting has a good constant factor anyway. And here I would say that still very slow is unordered map, because even though it's linear, it's quite slow. You can make maybe some tricks here with using bit sets. Not enough. You would need 1 gigabyte to create one frequency array of size 1 billion. Why is it not running? Reserve in vector, it saves some time. Because, oh, that's a nice improvement. Is it because of unordered map? I didn't expect that. I didn't reserve here because I don't think it's necessary. You shouldn't speed up parts that aren't a bottleneck. If you have few linear parts, like this part of code is O of n, this is O of n, then it won't give you a lot to improve one of them. Especially here, if I knew that this pushbacking n times should be faster than using unordered map or reading the input. To investigate if this is an issue with hash collisions, I'm going to submit again with map. I need to get to the statement. Now hit submit. Don't use unordered map without custom hash. Yeah, I wanted to get linear complexity, and This is the result. We can indeed, like, if you Google something like Codeforces, and what now? Don't use hash or rand, something like that. You will get proper blocks. Google this phrase and you will find some stuff. Don't use rand, guide to random number generators, faster hash tables, you know, all of this if you really want fast unordered map. I just use map every day. I just wanted to get linear here. So yeah, we got from 200 milliseconds to 140 milliseconds, but as we improved, we also got more than 2 seconds just because of using unordered map, which is slow and can have collisions if tests are very strong. A lesson is simple: don't use unordered map unless you really have to. Unrolled loop is faster. What do you mean? Where? Still, it's not something like this, for example, is not bottleneck of my solution, or this. I could also here, instead of pushbacking one by one, pushback just that number of elements, you know, stuff like that. This one might seem interesting. I will take a look. One more thing about this is that's more advanced trick, not really useful in easy problems. But if remember this trick. In this wide array of frequencies, let's remember how we created that. If in the input there were values like 10, 17, 10, 10, 5, and 10. Then if this is the input, then my frequency array looks like this. Something occurs once, here 4 times, and once. If I'm sort this, it's like that. That's the F array. And here's the trick. Even though it has length n, obviously, because I can have n ones, there's this fact that the sum of elements is n. And then lemma, or maybe not a lemma, I guess a lemma. Number of distinct elements is at most square root of n. If you don't know this fact, try to prove it. You cannot have more than O of square root of n. You cannot have like n over 2 distinct elements in this array. In any array where there are non-negative values and the sum of them is around n. And this means that you can, after using something like an unordered map, you can group those values together. Like, you know that there are 2 ones, there is 1 4, so on. And because of this lemma on the right, the number of here pairs is square root of n at most. So sorting it is actually O of square root of n times log of square root of n, which is just like log of n, just a constant factor. So if we group together same frequencies, the sort actually isn't n log n. It's this, which is smaller than O of n. So we shouldn't really speed this up more. We don't need count sort in this problem to achieve linear time. Please say my name. No, please don't spam. Hi, I'm happy you joined the stream. Don't spam. Also, you spelled my name wrong. All right, let's move on. Anani suggested e-government. I don't like a long statement. And I think that problem E in kcup, this is how you spell it, kcup, is too difficult. I will take a look at standings. So when you want to look at standings of this problem in a contest, you need to go to a contest and then see the standings. No, I'm not solving a problem that took top people around half an hour. Bad suggestion. This from last educational round. State formulation is very confusing, difficult. All right, how about this? That's a very short statement. What is that? Given a positive integer n, sum of integers consisting only of ones uses minimum number of ones in total. I thought that when you mentioned states, you mean dynamic programming. This doesn't look like dynamic programming, but I like the statement. We're doing this. Sum of integers, in particular negative. So we can keep adding and subtracting ones. This one was over 2500. Oh, really? Please stop suggesting so difficult problems. Yeah, like this is too hard. I need to grab some plugin to display the difficulty. All right, so Suraj, thank you for warning me. So nope. Wasn't there an announcement like days ago? Somebody created a plugin to display difficulty. Anybody got a link? Break the server? This is official admin? He doesn't write like official admin. Let's see if server can handle the hit when all members of community come together. Break unrated. If you make a contest unrated, it's not to break the server round. In any kind of testing unrated round, there are 10 times fewer participants. If you want to test your servers, just create a normal contest. The easier it is, the more participants you will have. It is official? Yes, I can believe that. Just I'm surprised that they compare themselves with Dwayne Johnson. All right, I don't see it here. I thought that recently somebody posted a plugin with difficulties. How about this unofficial division 4? I prefer to solve official problems. So also I solved this. Is this the one by Slavic and Sense? Oh yeah, Slavic changed his nickname to this, right? All right. So I solved this already, and I'm sure I have videos for that. Here's the plugin. Oh, yeah. What do I need to set this up? In Chrome extension, press load unpacked extension button. Choose downloaded folder, right? What's going on? I'm trying to install it. It should take a minute. Where was I lost the page. Okay, I have it here. Go to Chrome extensions. I'm doing it on my other monitor. Load unpacked. All right, installed. Let's see. Oh, this is some, oh yeah, it's solved. So anyway, this difficulty is displayed. Problem set, something that I didn't solve. Yeah, it works. Cool. So now you will not surprise me with some 2500 difficulty problem. Is it easy stream today? Yes, it is. Please spleen about basis and XORs. I don't know what is spleen. I did XORs in a video. And yeah, I'm still going to make some Gauss elimination videos. Code template I'm using, just read this. Forces Warsaw templates. This thing. What's going on? What did I do? Yeah, just Google Codeforces Warsaw templates. Try this. Try this one. Could you try this? You need to say a few more words about the problem rather than can you try this? This can be educational. That convinces me more, at least. Oh, I had more than one browser open. I see. Bayern 2015. That's some exotic contest. I solved it. I see. In 2014. Oh, my code will for sure be bad. Actually, it's not that bad. But I wrote in Polish back then. Well, still, TR stands for 3. I can read the problem. Let's see. Given a sequence of integers, but usually I prefer Codeforces rounds, and queries, count number of pairs such that this and GCD is equal to X. Do we want this? Resources to prepare for hashcode. Solve past hashcode problems and Google solutions about them. That's it. Yes, you can suggest problems, but now I don't need more. I'm just scrolling up in the chat, just checking out links that you already gave me. Education and normal contests. Educational are more educational. Normal is more competitive. The problems are less standard. Rating for interviews. If you have rating of around 2000, then few hours spent on lead code or reading, cracking the coding interview, and you're set. If your rating is 1500, then yeah, it isn't yet obvious that you will pass. All right, let's do some drawings. We're solving this. Count intervals with GCD equal to some particular value. Let's say that this value is 6. Then it immediately excludes some positions. Positions not divisible by this value. Oh, I think I know a solution. All right. Yeah, I will continue this thought process, but now for a few seconds I thought about something else and I got the solution. Anyway. If something is not divisible by 6, like here a 10, then it can be excluded and we can focus on those two parts. But if, let's imagine that everything is divisible by 6, then what? It's still hard to count intervals with GCD exactly equal to 6. Maybe GCD is bigger. Imagine that there's 60 here and 300 there and 40. Then GCD of this is 20. Oh, actually, let's go with here 120. Then this GCD is what? 60? Oh, actually 60. That was not the best example I could come up with, but whatever. What I mean is, let's divide this by 5. 24. Then GCD is 12, which is not trivial, even though everything is divisible by 6. So it's very hard to exclude cases where GCD is bigger, and instead let's use quite standard thing, maybe more useful for harder problems. When, let's say with brute force, you want to find GCD for every interval. So for every start, you go to the right, just think about n square, let's say times logarithm of value. And let's say this complexity. Logarithm for computing GCD. If starting from every position, we go to the right and we compute GCD with every next value. We maintain GCD of this, and then we compute its GCD with that, then with next element, and so on. As we go, lemma is, but this lemma is quite easy to prove. Lemma GCD will, for fixed left bound, for fixed start, GCD will decrease at most log times. It's logarithm of AI. The proof is that always when it decreases at least twice. So if GCD for this was 60, and now you consider this new value, either GCD will remain as 60, or it will be divisor of 60. It still must be divisible by this. Like maybe it will get down to 30, or maybe it will be 15, 20, 1, something like that. So we use the fact that it decreases at least twice if it decreases, hence it will decrease at most that many times. What about C++ inbuilt GCD? Is it the fastest? I don't think it's fastest, but it's for sure fast enough. Aha, Korasik, no thank you. If you have suggestions, put them in YouTube comments or in my Discord server. I don't want to answer to everything now. Also, I will not remember that. YouTube comment system is the best because it has upvoting system. So others will upvote you if they agree with you. New haircut? Like from a week ago or so. From time to time I need to cut my hair, not to look like some kind of, I don't know, I wanted to say madman. Maybe more like homeless. All right. And from this lemma, we have that there won't be a lot of different GCDs possible. For every start, because of this lemma, maybe it's something like this. Up to here GCD is 1000, up to here GCD is 200, then for some time it's still 200, then it's smaller. So for fixed start, it's like up to here it's something, up to there it's something smaller, and up to here it's something smallest. Logarithmically many groups like this. And if we can quickly find those groups, then we can keep this information and we can know, okay, I see that 1000 appears for those two endpoints, so increase the answer, the frequency for 1000 by 2. Same thing, increase frequency of 200 by 3. If we do this as pre-processing, for every start, find those groups up to where we have some GCD, up to where we have some other GCD, then we will find frequency for every GCD, how many intervals have that. Then answering queries is just reading from a map. So I kind of know answer for all values from 1 to billion. YouTube chat disabled for this stream. Why? It's hard for me to handle both streams. It's easier just with one, and it's more than enough. Somebody said before, not look like Radeusz. Yes, kind of. Radeusz has longer hair now, which is understandable. You shouldn't just go to hairdresser every month now, with pandemic going on. It's fine to just stay in home. It's actually preferred. So what was I saying? Yeah, instead of doing this in this slow complexity, I want to get n times something. And for that, we use the technique of segment tree binary search. To get just any polylog, we could do this. If we have segment tree, we can ask for GCD in interval. Then if you, starting from here, you know that up to there, there's GCD of 200. You can ask a segment tree, hey, what about GCD of this interval? If it's still 200, then you want to get even longer interval. If not, then shorter interval. So with binary search, we can find here what's the furthest place up to which we can have GCD of 200. And let's say it turns out to be up to there. So this, and that, it's all 200. And then we keep searching what happens here. Again, with all fixed start point there. The complexity should be n times log to some power, maybe third, maybe fourth. Usually you call it polylog. Polynomial of logarithm. And actually I will not say of what, but because it's kind of n, kind of from values like billion. And you will, I think, achieve log square if you do smart binary search in a segment tree, or maybe use some kind of sparse table where if you want after some leaf to find the next place that satisfies something, this is a segment tree, let's say starting from here, you want to find, this is easier explained if, let's say, we want to find next value smaller than 50. And this is min tree of minimum. How from this place to the right in logarithmic time find next value smaller than 50? Well, we go up, and every time when we go from left child to a parent, we ask, hey, right child, is your minimum smaller than 50? Let's say that minimum here is 65. Then it means that everything here is bigger than 50, bigger than or equal to. So we continue our search. Again, ask the right child, hey, what's your minimum? Let's say 44. Okay, we go there, and we now keep going down. Always we ask first the left child, hey, what's your minimum? 44. Okay, we go there. Not 44, maybe 70. All right, we go to the other child. We just go up at most logarithmically many times, then go down at most logarithmically many times. So it's binary search built in a segment tree. That's of logarithm per binary search instead of log square if you do binary search, and every time inside binary search you ask segment tree about some interval. So in O(log) we can do this, find next values more than 50 if you already have built a segment tree of minimum. But you could build segment tree of GCD to then apply the same. Complexity will be multiplied by logarithm because we need to compute GCD every time. Maybe some kind of divisibility is enough, but it's possible. I don't want to spend more time. This is a very standard problem where if you know it, now I'm wasting your time. If you don't know it, then you need half an hour lecture to understand all the details, but that should be enough. Right, I'm reading the chat. Again, I lost my my browser. This was it. We can take a look at the code. My code from 6.5 years ago. Yeah, 6.5. That's some old code. I see that I created a tree, some kind of map. When we answer queries later, we just read A and print M of A. So indeed, I pre-computed all the values. I don't know what, oh yeah, I see. Coko in Polish is short for whatever, cokolwiek. So I didn't have good variable names or function names. For every start from 1 to n, run whatever. Before you create a GCD tree, it's just funny to read such an old code. My style now is completely different. And for when starting from there, while true, x becomes f of start, so we move. I guess function f is responsible for this go up and then go down. This says last good. So find the last element such that GCD doesn't change, I believe. So everything in skipped interval, it needs to be divisible by this GCD so far. I guess A stands for that. Even then, I created functions for something modular, and this is very good. This is much better than putting here inside of there. Because with a function, you can replace that with brute force code to easily test stuff. Modular coding is very good. Right then. I will read some lost messages from the chat. Yeah, you shouldn't tell me that you have put question in the chat. So if I scroll up, I will see it. If not, then it likely means that I don't have time. Indeed, I'm quite good at math. I practiced math way before I did any kind of programming. Why segment tree? Can't you just store groups with equal GCD in a stack? Also, this is an important question. Can't you just store groups with equal GCD in a stack? I think you're right if we go from right to left. Stack. All right. Yeah, then we don't need a segment tree indeed. That's a good point then. I believe your suggestion is to do this. If I know that from here, GCD up to there is 1000, then finishing anything here, it will give me GCD of 200, then finishing anywhere here, GCD of 50. Then if I move this left start here, well, the only thing that will happen is that there is some new value there, let's say 1024. And it will update GCDs of stuff ending here, ending there, ending there. So for each of those values, like 1000 and 1024, I need to compute its GCD. I believe here it should be just 32. Right? Then compute GCD of those two numbers, you will get something. It should be this or smaller. Divided by 5, I think it's still this. and 50 and 1000, 24. That's this GCD is what? This is 2 times 25, this is 2, it's just 2, right? So we use now those values and we say, okay, apparently finishing anywhere here will give me GCD of 32, finishing anywhere here, GCD 2, just here, 1024. This can be a vector of pairs, maybe vector of tuples that will denote from where to where, or just maybe length of this would be enough. I don't really care about indices. So more like for how many elements here we have this particular GCD. And then when previously we had information like once we had GCD of 1000, 3 times we had GCD of 200, and here 3 times we had GCD of 50. Let's say that this last element doesn't exist. And now we have similar information, once 1024, 4 times 32, 3 times 2. Yeah, this vector of pairs always has a size of at most logarithm, so it's fast to update it. Then this is much easier solution than a segment tree. So Itarin, thank you again. I remember you also from the past streams, at least one past stream, for your helpful comments. So again, thanks. Very good idea. Weighted undirected graphs, blah blah. Yeah, I won't solve, you know, problems that you just tell me in the chat, because it's just better to use Codeforces problems. In particular, you might ask me about something from an ongoing contest. You know, I want a link, and today I'm solving Codeforces problems. Square root algorithm on the question for GCD, will it work? I have no idea how you want to hear use square root algorithm. Oh, you mean that the number of distinct values is small? But it's not that the sum of values is something here. The order matters. If you mean that we use square root decomposition, like split numbers into groups of size square root, then yes, it's some alternative to a segment tree, but it will be slower. Do I have schedule in advance for my streams? Yes. See this. There's link in the description as well. Maybe not schedule calendar command. I usually stream Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and the topics are fixed as well. Always same time, 5 p.m. European time. Tooth Saber, I don't like the fact that you repeated your comments, by the way. Pernacan, you also repeated your questions. Come on, guys, you're just... I need to spend more time, because when I have time between problems to go through the chat, I go through the chat and I see the same question repeated. That's annoying. Splitting the group helps? What do you mean? This? Those vectors? All right, so let's do some... actually, it's full hour now. Do I want to do something else? Or just finish? Recent problem, this... I don't like it. Too many math notations in the statement. This block problem 1. I mean, all right, so it's from some contest. I mean, there should be some discussion here, I guess, in the comments. Yeah, I prefer problems from Codeforces because, you know, I can expect similar style of quality. I know that I can submit this if I want to. When I have Codeforces stream, I need a very good problem to make an exception for it, to take something not from Codeforces round. Make habit to tell times in IST. Yes, half of my viewers are from India, but you can make a habit of translating my time to yours. I think it's now 3 hours and a half. But if I remember correctly, this calendar command, actually it displays time in Pacific Standard Time, Central European and Indian Standard Time. So I think that also my Twitch background and also this thing, the thumbnail that you see here, it also displays time in Pacific, European and Indian time. So I think I'm very inclusive. Can you solve this, please? Again, it's better if you say something meaningful about the problem. Graph problem. And too hard. No. I just opened it on my second monitor. How to do d-dimensional problem? I have no idea. What does it mean, d-dimensional? There are points in d-dimensions? It's not that there is a general recipe to solve a problem with problems in 3 dimensions or 2 dimensions. No. 2 dimensions is usually geometry, and it's hard. 3 dimensions is usually 3-dimensional geometry, which is even harder. And in more dimensions, actually, it stops being geometry. It's usually something else. You just need to analyze it. Back again. Hello, Elon Musk. It would be funny if real Elon Musk appeared in one of those streams. I wonder how strong he is at algorithms. Max median. Why don't I see the difficulty? Maybe it wasn't assigned if it was a recent contest. I need to check if I was worried that maybe the plugin doesn't work. 2000. It might be too difficult, but I will read it. The statement is short. Find a subarray with length at least k with the largest median. Binary search over the answer? Gennadi's real name is X blah blah blah. Maybe. Do you think he's like weeks old? I think that Elon's children will do something more useful than competitive programming, because, you know, engineering is more useful than competitive programming. This is very close to science and theory rather than to real stuff. I recently discovered this channel, Stuff Made Here. Yeah.
I've never.
Come on, making a robot that cuts your hair. That's just amazing. So I'm not logged in my main channel. I'm not logged in with my private channel, so it doesn't display which videos I watched. But yeah, I saw this one and the one about pool, and they are amazing. How can you make a robot? So when you make a robot to cut your hair, it would be very hard to grab your hair, right? And then you need to be brilliant, of course, or just be lucky to get an idea, to use a vacuum. Because when you vacuum your hair, you don't need to grab them correctly. It will suck some part of your hair, and then you can cut easily. Those kind of ideas. It's something, I would say, more beautiful than very interesting algorithmic problems. So what was I saying? That I think that Elon Musk's children will do something like that rather than solving Codeforces problems. I don't go to the gym currently. Tooth Saber, I don't want. I don't have time to check out that. Let's solve this. Length at least k, and median needs to be big. If we care about median, for median to be at least x, we want to do this trick. Take a sequence, and everywhere where the number is at least x, put 1. where it's smaller than x, put 0. Then when you look at interval, its median is at least x if there are at least as many ones as zeros. I'm not sure what happens with even intervals. Median of this is 2, median of this is 1. Alright, so if in case of ties, if length is even, we take the smaller element. So it's like off by 1 thing. Right, if it's even, then for 3 big numbers and 1 small, yeah, maybe this is a better way to look at it. Just when investigating if median can be at least x, represent every number as big, b, or small. Then we know that median of this, because it has more bigger numbers than smaller, the median is at least this. We split values according to something like this. If value is at least x, then it's big. Else, small. And what happens then? Yeah, I first change it to 1 and 0 because then it's useful to use some kind of prefix sums. How do we do it? If they set exactly k, then that's easy because we can check with sliding window every interval of size exactly k. But they set at least k. I think geometry representation here is useful. Up to every place, if you compute the number of big and small, no, you only care about, you don't need geometry, never mind. Interval is good if and only if the count of big is bigger than the count of small. But every interval is difference of 2 prefix sums. That's useful. Let's transform this inequality a little bit. Number of big minus small must be greater than 0. So what about this? For every prefix, we compute this difference, big minus small, and we know this single value, and we wrote it. In this case, it's up to here 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, when checking some kind of interval, let's say this, it's just about subtracting 2 values and saying this later value needs to be greater than the previous one because their difference must be greater than 0. So if we are given some limit k and interval length must be at least k, then when we look at some value, it becomes something like this. In prefix up to this index minus k, so in something like there, we are looking for any value smaller than me. And that's easy with, prefix minimum on this. For sure can be done even without it. So that's the solution. First step, do binary search over answer. Okay, inside of that, compute prefix sums of small versus big. Big minus small, actually. And here, as the third step, they're still inside the binary search, so it's more like binary search, and inside do step 2 and step 3. Step 3 being, for every index, check if distant enough to the left, with distance at least k, because we want interval to be at least k, if there is anything smaller than me, because then the difference is greater than 0, so we have more big elements than small elements. So median is at least the required one. Again, that's wrong browser. That's an issue with using Windows and inside virtual machine with Linux. Video is very helpful. You are welcome. Saber, you're really spamming. I told you that I don't want to do that. I don't want to check out that problem. Yeah, so the stream was supposed to be 1 hour long and we crossed it by 10 minutes. I think that's about right for me today. See you next time on Tuesday. On Tuesdays I do some hard problems. Maybe this Tuesday I will spend on something for Google Hashcode. because the qualification round is on Thursday. So also because of that, I will not obviously stream anything on Thursday. Yeah. As always, I have a team of 4 with some friends from Warsaw. Stream is not for beginners. Yeah, like this stream is also not for professionals. It's for, I would say, beginner intermediates. How to prepare for Kickstart, solve Kickstart problems. Generally, this is a very useful thing I wrote down. I get tons of questions, like how to get read, how to prepare for Kickstart, anything like that. I wrote down my advice how to practice. It's all for free. Like, read this free PDF. Go to PDF, read it. It has, that's for competitive programming, maybe not for interviews. Go read this. It has 300 pages. As you go, solve problems, and then after that, get back with the next question. Yep. All right. In Codeforces, this I wanted to check if somebody is streaming. If yes, I would rate them. Right. Thank you everybody for watching. Practice. What topic do you like most? I like in particular geometry. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening or day or night, whatever your time zone is.